Yo, SomaZ here with a quick patch notes video because it actually includes balance changes and I just want to clear things up because at first glance some of these changes might seem ridiculous and just plain over nerfed. So I'm here to clear things up kind of and tell you about the changes from my point of view, and from my point of view all the changes were good. So before I go over the items and explain that, I'll go over the heroes really quick. Aluna received a pretty much nerf, straight up nerf. Wait, stop the video. SomaZ, what the hell? It's a buff, not a nerf. You wanted to say buff, but you said nerf because you suck. Freaking idiot. It's a buff, okay? Okay, continue video. Because lower cooldown on her third skill, lower mana cost on her ultimate. She needed a buff because I personally think she was an underpowered hero. And I think even in lower brackets the hero is pretty bad. So I think everyone will agree with me, she needed a buff. So Arachna Precision now gives True Strike to everyone at level 4. Now this needs some explanation, and here's Arachna. So here's your Precision Aura, which only works on ranged units and it gives damage. And here you have an Accursed, which I gave a Snake Bracelet, which gives 25% evasion. Now True Strike is something that another item in the game has, and this is this Savage Mace. True Strike allows the wielder to ignore enemy evasion. So pretty much at level 4, this ability will make it impossible for enemies to evade your attacks, which also means that it will work uphill, so it will be impossible for anyone to dodge your attack when they're uphill and you're downhill. They will have no advantage over you. So just to demonstrate the point, I will start attacking this guy. I'll just give my levels. And there you can see I missed once, and there I missed again. So I'm missing quite a lot. If I level this up to level 4, I will never miss, ever. That's it. No misses. And this also works for allies. Now, a mistake is, it says gives everyone True Strike. That's not true. It still works only on ranged units, but it gives all units under effects of this aura True Strike, so nobody will be able to miss. This kind of makes sense because the skill is called Precision, right? But the thing with this is that Arachna just needed a buff. She just needed a buff, and they decided, hey, this actually makes sense, and this is an interesting concept. This would be a unique reason to pick Arachna up in any game, so let's just do this. And I agree, Arachna needed a buff, and this is an interesting mechanic, so don't really have anything against it. Actually, it gives you a reason to get Arachna now. So yeah, this is a pretty cool change. That's what True Strike is, ignores evasion. Pretty cool. So next we have Berserker. This change is so little, it doesn't really matter. I won't go over it. Cthulhu Mortifying Presence now gives you less of a slow when you kill something. Which, did he need this nerf? I think he did, because Cthulhu is really tanky and has a pretty good stun and pretty good skills overall. He needed a small nerf, not buff. And Obliterate damage reduced also. Yeah, he needed a small nerf. Is this an over nerf? Is Cthulhu useless now? Well, definitely not useless, but is he underpowered? We will see, but he definitely needed a nerf. And Moon Queen, multi-strike damage reduction reduced. This is a buff. Don't misunderstand this as a nerf or anything. I don't know. I saw on the forums one guy misunderstood it as a nerf and complained. And I'm like, come on, you're gonna complain about a... So this is a buff. Basically, before every time your missile or whatever it's called, the Moonglaive, every time it bounces to another unit when you're attacking, that's from your second skill, damage gets reduced by 35%, so it deals less and less damage the more it bounces. Now the damage is only reduced by 20% on level 4, which means it deals more damage per bounce, which is a straight up buff to her second skill. And Moon Queen needed a buff, she really needed a buff. She's a really underpowered hero, so no questions about that change, it was needed. It's a good change. So that covers all the hero changes. I agree to pretty much all of them. They're really good. And there come the two ridiculous item changes. Now first I'm going to talk about Kuldra's Sheepstick. Now if you read the patch notes on the forums, they say that the duration has been reduced from 3.5 seconds to 2. And in game it says 2.5. I tested it and some people tested it as well. It's 2.5, so it's a 1 second reduction in duration. And personally, I completely agree with this change because the item is ridiculous. The item is so good. It's basically a stun for 3.5 seconds because the target cannot use items or skills, and it basically cannot move unless it has a haste rune or it's a war beast who uses his ultimate, which is 2 cases where it actually is not a stun. and you can still hit the enemy and it takes full damage, so it's basically a 3.5 second stun on an item, which is ridiculous. The only stuns that are that long are like skill shots, like Valkyrie's arrows or something. Like, no other stuns are that long, so it needed a nerf. It was ridiculous. It's an item which is, if you can get it, it's good on pretty much any hero, just like Hellflower kind of, but even more ridiculous. So even in the competitive scene, this was a problem, and I think in normal games, at least I saw it as a problem. This reduction, the duration is needed, because have you ever felt like when you were disabled by a sheepstick, you were turned into a sheep? You just couldn't do anything for such a long time that it's overpowered. Have you ever thought of that? I mean, the item build-up is hard, but it's not like one of the most expensive items in the game. It's pretty expensive, but not ridiculous. So yeah, this item needed a nerf, and I fully agree with it. Well, actually, it is one of the most expensive items, but still, the effect was so ridiculous. I completely agree with the reduction to 2.5 seconds. But in return, the cooldown was reduced a bit by 5 seconds to compensate, which is cool. I'm cool with that. Now, Hellflower. Range reduced from 900 to 800. That's not too big of a deal, some might think. And the mana cost doubled. So, what's the reason for this? Well, here's the reason. Cool Dress Sheepstick was like the best disable in the game because it essentially stunned you for 3.5 seconds, and that received a nerf, so that is worse now. So what will people do now? They will switch to the second best thing, which is the Hellflower, which essentially disables you for 5 seconds, and it doesn't just silence you, it silences your items as well, which is called Perplex in this game. So basically it can still move like you did, but it's kind of a stun for 5 seconds, well, not really, but it also amplifies damage and shows you in the fog. So this item, remember that what I said in like I think I said it in the Vindicator video, that Hellflower, my views on it changed. It's a good item in pretty much any hero because it only gives 20 intelligence and 51 damage, so it's not only good on intelligence heroes, it's good on any hero. And mana cost increased, well, yeah, it's pretty big, but I mean, Hellflower gives 225% mana regen, which is the highest amount of mana regen any item in the game gives. So 100 mana cost was too low. And yeah, the problem is now people just switch to Hellflower, or they would switch to Hellflower after the Sheepstick nerf, because Sheepstick wasn't as useful anymore. Everyone would just start picking up Hellflower on pretty much any hero, and a lot of people already do that as well. So the item is a bit too good, and the build-up for the item is a bit too simple, so it needed a nerf, especially since Sheepstick again was changed, so it received this nerf. That was the reason, and I agree with it actually, because the item is really, really good. It basically fixes any mana issues you could ever have, and gives you a 5-second disable, which is the longest disable in the game. So those were my thoughts on the patch changes. There's like careers and stuff, I don't really care about that. So yeah, that's an explanation of item changes. Everything was needed. I agree with pretty much all of these changes. All of them were good. So, and a quick update if anyone is interested. There's going to be a new video on my second channel and a new video on this channel, and this video is also a new one. So expect like 3 videos or 2 more videos after this one. And catch me in my chat, or I will probably play now with viewers. So we'll see how that goes. And don't forget, you see this? You have validation error. Don't forget to reapply your mods. And to do that, you need to go into your Heroes of Newerth folder, open the mod manager, unapply all mods, and then apply them back again, and then it will be fixed. So remember, you have to do that for every patch, remember. So see you next time.